need to fear. Underdog is here.
And we're back. Underdog Moto Mania here. Gonna do a video about how to wheelie just about any bike. Unfortunately, I won't be wheeling this one. That's my wife's bike. She won't let me ride it for obvious reasons. But to cover this topic, we'll be riding my fz09. Yes, I still own this bike. Ultimate Street Hooligan Machine, and the DRZ. It's a pretty wide disparity in horsepower. We're looking at maybe 40 horsepower on the DRZ and definitely over 100 on the fz09. Maybe 110 with the mods I got on it. But we'll go out, cover the basics, kind of a beginner video for wheelies just to help you get up the front wheel up off the ground safely and to get used to it. And maybe talk a little bit about the back brake. Well, we'll see you guys out there. Oh, you hooligan. Ultimate Hooligan Machine. Man, this bike is powerful. Dangerous, too. So, first thing to cover when you're on a big bike, like something like a fz09 or a leader bike, and you got some programmable modes, you are gonna maybe want to start in the smoothest mode possible on the 2015 fz09, that is B mode. You might be sacrificing maybe 10 horsepower to total horsepower, but you're making up for it with like smoother throttle response, and that's important. Smooth throttle response is very important for not looping your bike. You don't want any fast twitch when you got the bike up anywhere around balance point. That fast twitch is going to send it over, so smoothness is the key. Doing wheelies is much more about technique than raw power. So B mode is actually perfect. Just a little power wheelie. Power wheelies are kind of good just to get used to having the front wheel up off the ground. But if you're going to be approaching balance point and getting it up real high and getting it up in the higher gears, I kind of more recommend a clutch up. With the clutch up, you're going to be able to get the bike a little higher, a little faster, and still have some RPMs. Basically, something I try to do when I'm clutching it up is clutch it up to a certain height, a height I feel comfortable at, and then from there, like, roll on the power and just kind of rise it up. Just gradually. And tap on the back brake a little bit, get it to ride down. But let's get out to the spot and we'll talk about it. Let's face it, this is a good topic for a video, how to do wheelie on just about any bike, so cross the line on me. Because, let's be honest, it gives me a chance to get out in the same day on both bikes, which, believe it or not, I've yet to do this, so this gives me an excuse. So yeah, first on the FZ, raw power. Doesn't require much finesse to get the front wheel off the ground on this bad boy. I'm telling you. These big bikes like the fz09, any of your leader bikes, the Sometimes the challenge is keeping the wheel down on the ground, especially if you're in the hard launch and acceleration. I mean, the bike, it'll just come up on you. Yeah, there's no finesse. The fz09 has no chill. He's shaking his head no. He's like, this is scary. He's like, you can tell he's not an advanced biker, even though he's a little bit older. He's dragging the landing gear. To get used to getting the front wheel off the ground, you gotta think, you know, do a first gear power wheelie, roll on smoothly, feel the front wheel come up, hit the back brake kind of hard and bring it down. Brake, bring it down. Yeah, get used to using that back brake to bring the front end down. Then do that like 100 or so times. And then really, to practice this, you're gonna wanna practice clutching up in, say, second gear, gear that's not super torquey. And you're just gonna find where your torque range is and pull in the clutch, give it a little more throttle, and then slip the clutch. Hit the back brake, bring it down. Yeah, you're gonna be repeating that a lot. Hit the back brake, bring it down. Hit the back brake, bring it down. When you bring it up higher, where it's getting a little more uncomfortable, you're going to use that back brake to kind of stabilize it. You know, you're getting it up a little higher, tap the back brake, it'll kind of stabilize it. And, you know, with the back brake, you know, tapping it when you need it. I don't really recommend riding it to the point where you heat up the back brake and get some brake fade, because that could be dangerous. But when you get used to using that back brake to stabilize it, you're going to be able to ride some longer wheelies. So I try to look to my right a little bit because I know my camera being on the left side kind of misses the throttle hand a little bit. And I'll try to get some of these in slow-mo so you see the action of the levers. Around the torque range on the fz09 is around 30 in second gear. Slip the clutch. Whoops. Slip the clutch. Back brake. And back brake. Back brake to bring it down. Keep it nice and safe. Once you get it up to where you want it, roll on the gas. You can pull the front end up higher. When it gets a little uncomfortable, tap on the back brake, bring it down. Back brake, back brake, back brake. Try this at your own risk. The possibilities of looping the bike, especially on a powerful bike like the fz09, is very high. It's very high. So, definitely, I don't recommend doing these. I mean, if you can, practice in a big empty parking lot, or at least an area where you're not going to get traffic behind you or oncoming traffic that's going to crunch you. But yeah, gotta be careful out here on the streets. Says me. I'm careful. I'm careful. It was just smooth on the throttle to bring it up, and I just tapped on the back brake to bring it down. And also, like, using the back brake to bring it down instead of chopping the throttle, you're very possibly going to bring it down a little smoother. Try to clutch up a second gear wheelie and get a couple taps on the back brake and not chop the throttle at all to bring it down. You know, show you how smooth you might be able to bring this front end back down. See, that was just a back brake to bring it down. I kept steady on the throttle. Back brake to bring it down. Steady. Okay. Okay, let's try that again. Woo-wee! So that's about it. Okay, right around 50, right around 50. Yeah, a little bit. Garrett will run you out on the fz09 a little short of 80 miles an hour. Which means, you know, when you're running up to the end of your rev limiter, you're going to want to get the front end down before you hit the rev limiter, because you hit the rev limiter, it's going to drop like someone dropping out of a plane, and it's unpleasant. Woo! Little too high. Get in the back brake, brought it down. Next thing, highly important. Bring your front wheel down as straight as humanly possible. Sometimes you get more advanced, you're bringing up the wheel higher, you're actually turning the handlebars a little bit to like look underneath your arm to actually see where you're going. As you're approaching balance point, the windscreen is going to get up in your field of view. And as you're more advanced, you're going to be turning the handlebars a little bit left or right, depending on where you like to look. I usually like to look under my left arm, so I turn the handlebars to the right and look underneath my arm. And switch bikes, and talking about your low-powered wheelies, your small bikes. DRZ with its nearly 40 horsepower is what I consider like a small bike. I'm using 2 fingers on the clutch. On the DRZ I have a stunt clutch, so I can use 1 finger. But I'm using 2 fingers on the clutch, finding that torque range on this is around 30. I'm going to pull in the clutch, give it a little more gas because it's a very powerful bike, and then I'm going to slip the clutch, not drop it. I tapped the back brake to bring it down. Looking for traffic and cars pulling out on me, making sure there's no one behind me at the very least. But yeah, find somewhere where traffic is predictable, which is important. If you happen to mess up and loop your bike, having no one behind you is important, because then at that point your life is in their hands. I mean, they could run you over. I love BMO though, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Find your torque curve for the gear you want to do it in. Pull in the clutch while simultaneously rolling on the throttle a little bit at a time till you find out how much is going to bring up that front end predictably. A little bit, it doesn't work, you need a little more gas. Slip the clutch, let it out, maybe roll on the throttle, bring it up a little higher, tap on the back brake to bring it down. Or if you get in trouble, bring it down, or to stabilize it. Back brake's very important. Don't drag the back brake, it'll heat up and eventually it will fail on you. You don't want that. That's why I advocate tapping. Tap it, tap it, tap it. let's get on Underdog's other bike, Underdog Moto Mania. All right, bruh.
I lived a life I deserve. Blessed. But they can't get better at work. False.
I think those kids saw me. Yes. No finesse, just zip. The DRZ sweet spot for me is in third gear around 27, pulling the clutch full throttle and a bit of a yank. Still back brake's very important, and obviously you could do wheelies in other gears. You got a smaller bike, you might want to get used to doing them in second, where you got a little bit more torque and a little bit more power to get it up. Tap down the back brake to bring it down. Find your sweet spot. Slowly bring them higher. Maybe start out chasing. Don't don't hit the rev limiter to set it down, because then it'll kind of drop like like being thrown out of a plane. Same rules apply. There's a little more technique and finesse. It's going to be required to get this up and keep it up. You don't got that power to force it to stay up, so ride longer wheelies on this, you're going to have to bring them a little higher. I've never ridden my two bikes back to back. Still feels good. There's still some torque on this bike, you can feel it. Huh. It's got a Porsche, maybe he wants to race. Passengers. So I'm beginning to feel like the sweet spot for gas in this thing is like 89.91. One of the things about doing a wheelie is maybe slide back in the seat a little bit. My gearing has changed from the stock DRZ. It's going to be a little different. Mine, I was able to wheelie the stock SM in third with the stock gearing. I forgot what the exact speed was, but yeah, it required a bit of a bounce and a bit of a yank. Now still maybe a little bit of yank, full throttle, 27 miles an hour in third gear, but not as much. It's way more power, way more torque. Okay. Third gear, 27 miles an hour, full throttle, slip the clutch, yank. Back brake. It up, second gear, clutch up, brought it up, tap the back brake, bring it down. Okay, so on the DRZ, you're a beginner, you don't have that finesse yet to bring up the front wheel. You might want to start your clutch ups in second gear. Just get used to the front wheel coming up. So let's see what that looks like real quick. Okay. Probably like a little under 20. Clutch it. the clutch, bring it up. Back brake, bring it down. Start out small, little by little. You're gonna give it maybe, a quarter more throttle. Slip the clutch, see how much it comes up. Adjust it if you want it to come up higher. Roll on the throttle, bring it up a little higher. Tap on the brake to bring it down. Don't cut the throttle. Stay as smooth on the throttle as you can. Ooh. And then work your way up to third. 27. Pull the clutch, full throttle, slip it, yank. Back brake, bring it down. Back brake, bring it down. Easy, easy. Get that timing down. That little period of time when you pull in the clutch is gonna compress the front forks a little bit. Pull back, yank, throttle. Like I said, third gear. You don't have a lot of torque on this bike. You don't have that much torque once you get up into that third and fourth gear. So you're gonna have to give it a little pull. Takes a little finesse. Once you get used to it, it's real easy. It'll come up real quick for you. On the throttle, tap the back brake, bring it down. Trial and error. My gearing is 14 tooth front sprocket, 44 tooth rear sprocket, so a little bit more torque both directions. My top speed is 90 miles an hour. It's not geared down super low, but it does make a difference. So I would say, if you got stock gearing on a supermoto, practice them in second gear. Get that technique and get used to the front wheel coming up off the ground. And then when you're pulling them up in second, riding them out a little bit longer, and you got that technique down real good, start trying third. It takes a lot of trial and error, and on stock gearing I was getting kind of frustrated, which is why I changed my gearing. I could bring it up, but it wasn't real consistent. I could probably do it better now. Thanks, man. Ring, slip the clutch in, full throttle, yank. Second gear, clutch up. A little under 20. A little bit. Tap the brake, bring it down. Do that about 1,000 times. Get used to the back brake. Get used to that, how it feels, how the bike reacts when you push it. Muscle memory over and over again until it's just a reflex. You want it to be reflex. It needs to be there when you need it to save you. So, yeah, work on that. Try to bring the wheelie down with the back brake every single time. got real light at the top, that's your balance point. You go much further back than that, and you're gonna loop it out. Also, wear protection, for the love of God. That girl. That girl was recording me. I'm pretty sure that's the second person. That's the second person today. Talking on speakerphone. But anyway, there's a couple stand-ups thrown in there for you. But hey, that's about it. It's not really that hard. I mean, you just getting used to pulling the front wheel up and just gradually bring it up higher and get real used to that back brake, you know? I mean, once you get the technique down, it's like really nothing to bring up. I mean, once you get used to it, you'll wonder why you're ever scared in the first place. But you bring it back up to a certain point, and you know, your heart kind of jumps a beat. Truthfully, I mean, towards the end, I mean, I'm garbage at stand-ups, but towards the end, I actually did a stand-up where it actually felt more comfortable than it usually does. So I gotta put in the work on stand-ups and get more used to them. But anyway, if you like my shenanigans, like, comment, subscribe to my channel, Underdog Moto Mania. We're getting bigger and better all the time. Check it out. Tell your friends. Wheelie tutorial video, how to wheelie just about any bike. Covered a big bike, covered a small bike. Well, if you like my shenanigans, why don't you like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Until next time, Underdog Moto Mania.